Hello guys, welcome back to the channel. How are we doing? Today's video is another Master Rank League play example of absolute demolition. I go 43 and 21, I think. 43 and 21, 43 and 22. You guys are going to be able to see it in the thumbnail as it is anyway. But I go off. Long story short, I go off, even though my shots there were very questionable, and I get shattered off the rip. Yeah, today's video is going to be a sort of a guide and maybe, you know, a sort of tips and tricks on how to actually play as an SMG to benefit your team the most. A couple of videos ago, I did a similar thing with ARs, with a Krig on Checkmate. So if you haven't checked that out, I will leave a. This is going to be part of a playlist called Mastering League Play, and it's going to be the most recent video in that playlist. So yeah, kicking it off, Garrison. This is a very SMG friendly map. You get some maps which aren't so much as just Checkmate, and that's really the only one where SMG in is quite difficult. Now, on a lot of these hills, SMGs are going to be the people where they have to hold the areas and generally just get a hill time. On this map, it tends to be the case where the ARs tend to sit back and play a bit more passively, just like absolutely being that guy off his heady. But for example, this one here, this is where you want to be as an SMG, just sort of in their face, the first barrier of defense. And then usually you have an AR sat on the satellite on this green, not on hill time because that doesn't gather hill time. And then from here, ignore those shots. Those shots were shocking. Ignore those shots. Don't shoot like that. That's a tip. Don't shoot like that. Yeah, and essentially being an SMG means just trying to be the ones to rotate as long as you're not getting time, and just making sure that you're there, you know, providing the first port of call of defense for the next hill as well. I mean, that's generally goes, you know, no matter what gun you're using. But I think in most cases, if the hill's a relatively small hill, and the ARs benefit from being sat back blocking spawns, which tends to be most of the time what they're meant to be doing is blocking spawns and, you know, anchoring. It's your responsibility as an SMG to win those close range and gun engagements and just get hill time, really. SMG tend to be a bit more movement based with regards to how you get around the map. And AA, you can be a bit more stationary, and there's a lot less of a need for you to be able to, you know, finesse your movement quite so much. Unfortunately, I do get shredded there, but as you can see, my shot's absolutely on fire at this game, which is why the scoreline seems to be the way it is. Yeah, so I think the first thing I'd say is just try and learn how to use movement to your advantage. I mean, you'll see a mixture of jumping and slide cancelling. And just as a quick recap, if you guys don't know how to do the slide cancelling, you essentially, the best way I found to do it, there are numerous ways in which you can do it, but the best way I found to camera people essentially break cameras is as you slide, you continue holding down sprint, and then you just ADS, and then through that whole point you need to be holding sprint, because then as you ADS, you'll then come out of the slide into an aim straight away. So essentially, sprint forward, slide whilst holding sprint, press left trigger while holding sprint, and that should pull you out of the slide and then cancels the slide essentially. That's the best way I can do it. And the main areas you want to be doing that, really, I know I covered this all in my movement video, but that was a while ago now, is when you're close to the wall, you are, you know, trying to walk through. So, unfortunate timing there. So if I was close to a door frame and I knew someone was in the other room, sort of going as close to that door frame as I can and sprint, slide cancelling out into the open door, is going to be one of them things which is where, you know, slide cancelling is hugely beneficial. Jump shot tends to be almost the polar opposite in the fact that, see right there, as I was close to that little, you know, area. This is a nice spot, by the way, although I do get shredded off it. As I was close to that little area, I slid left cancel rather than jump. If you are challenging someone and you're far from the cover in which you're coming out of, jumps, I would say, is the better option. But if you're close, this is the general rule of thumb. Obviously, it depends on the situation, and it's completely dependent on the situation. But if you are farther from the cover that you're, you know, trying to come out of, jumping tends to be better than slide cancelling. Whereas if you're close to the cover you're trying to, you know, come out of, it tends to be slide cancelling as the better option. A lot of SMGs I see don't like to take long-range gunfights. Often you need to. You can't always guarantee that the gunfights are going to be in your mouth, like that one right there. You will see me here trying to, challenge gunfights where possible at range. The biggest thing though is to know when to back out of a gunfight. A Krig is always going to do, an AR or any AR really, is always going to do more damage than your SMG at further range. So knowing when to call it quits and pulling out of the gunfight is essential. If you get 1 or 2 bullets on, that's still beneficial to the team. Not shooting at all and hiding and waiting for your teammate to come is not really the thing to do. I see far too many SMGs, relying solely on their ARs to get to the hills, when in fact they could do, 50 damage on them and get them semi-weak so that the ARs could just come in and finish the kill. It's probably how you end up. This is also a decent tip in order for you to higher your limbs, a limb to death ratio, because if someone finishes off your kill, it counts as an limb in this game. Yeah, so that's the one thing I say is not to be afraid of those long range gunfights. Pre-aiming obviously isn't such a big thing as an SMG because the sprint fire time is a lot lower than an AR. However, it's always good to do so. And try and control your own gunfights. I mean, I did say when I did the AR video that control your gunfights so that you really were in the longer ranges. Again, I think this goes without saying, do the complete opposite and try and make sure that, although I did say that don't fight, hide away from those long range gunfights. Try and make sure that every gunfight you take, you are at the benefit of there's not much distance between you and the enemy you're trying to kill. This just gives you the biggest advantage really, because that's what an SMG is built for. Let's forget about those shots. Now for me, the settings I would use as an SMG, I don't play independent. I think I play infected as my ADS field of view. I play 100 field of view because it enables me to be able to, if I'm in a room, I can see more of the room. I think 100 is standard anyway, to be honest with you. I wouldn't recommend going any lower, even as an AR. But as an AR, I would have it as affected field of view when you ADS'd. Sensitivity-wise, I play on a pretty high sensitivity. I play on 8.8 on this game. I mean, it's not unheard of, but a lot of people do think, bloody hell, that's quite high. But I think 8.8 is pretty good. I think as an SMG, it's important to be able to maneuver and be able to turn rapidly. To win those gunfights at those close range and be able to react effectively. The counter to that is obviously you can't aim at longer ranges better, but the answer to that is to change your ADS sense. So I think my ADS sense is a 0.73. So while I am holding my left trigger and I am ADS'd, the sensitivity of me looking left and right or up and down, which way, is a little bit slower than it would be than being on 1 and on 8.8, because playing on an ADS sense of just 8.8.1 is absolutely insane. So yeah, that's one thing I would recommend. If you do try and pick up an SMG, I would recommend, and you're trying to learn SMG, maybe up your sensitivity a bit, not completely up to, say if you're on 4, I don't recommend you jump straight to 8. Slowly work your way up to a higher sensitivity. If 8's too much, obviously don't go to 8, maybe sit on 7 or 6. But generally having a higher sensitivity at the closer ranges can be beneficial, as long as you don't mind bumping down your ADS sense a little bit for you, for you to be able to compete at those shorter ranges. Another thing I would recommend is strafing. SMGs have this again links into the movement. One of the positives using an SMG over an AR is the fact that you can strafe pretty well. And sliding one way and strafing backwards the other way, not backwards, but strafing back the way you came, is a nice way to confuse the enemies you're shooting. I'm gutted I lost that kill. That'd have been a nice little clip there. But yeah, that's what I do. As I have said in my AR video, and this is the same here. I just want to say in this video, I don't often blow my own trumpet, but I'm shooting absolute rockets. When I'm hitting my shots, at least. Yeah, don't be afraid to switch to an AR. If you are playing checkmate and you've got two SMGs and you're the second SMG, and you need someone to hold spawns, to hold those longer lines of sight, don't be afraid to pull out an AR. Obviously, if settings are what I say, playing as an AR might be a bit odd. Because obviously playing as an affected FOV obviously is better. But don't be afraid to pull out an AR. I see a lot of SMGs strictly play SMG, and it doesn't benefit the team in certain situations. So don't be afraid to pull out an AR. And if you find one on the floor, if you find a Krig on the floor, just put it in the back pocket. You never know when it will be helpful for you to be able to compete at those longer ranges rather than well, using a Krig rather than an AK-74U. So that's going to do it for the video. That's enough of me talking. The video is just about to come to an end. Are you guys still playing League Play? Are you still enjoying the League Play content? Let me know if you've made it this far by leaving a like and a comment. It'd be interesting to see how much any of you guys actually, watch my videos till the end. It'd be cool to see. And are we excited for Vanguard? I know I can't bloody wait. I haven't played Cold War in a while, I've got to admit. I'm just waiting for Vanguard. So that's going to do it. I'll go 43 and 21, an absolute killer game. As I said, leave a like and comment if you enjoyed. And if you're not subbed to the channel, why aren't you? Sub to the channel. This is the content I upload most frequently. Enjoy the rest of your day, guys, and I'll speak to you later. Bye-bye.